Hi everyone, and welcome to my talk in KCD Lahore. Super excited to give this talk. It's been a long time coming. Congratulations to all the amazing efforts being done and have been done by the organization team to get this event moving. It's no joke to create an event that over 1,000 people registered for. There's a lot of planning that goes on behind the scenes. So if you're in the audience, let me take this opportunity, give a round of applause to all the people that have organized. You can say thank you. That'd be great. I think Urdu is Shukriya. I'm not sure about Punjabi. I also forgot to say Salaam Alaikum. Salaam Alaikum, everyone. Welcome to KCD Lahore. My name is Bart Farrell, and I will be giving this talk called The Next Decade of Kubernetes Insights from CNCF Investments. Right? This talk is quite practical. You don't need to have a crazy technical level to understand it. It's basically just sort of a case study going out and speaking to different people in the community, but we'll get to that in a second. If you have any questions about the talk, if you'd like to know more information, I have my name right here. I'm very easy to find on the CNCF Slack. And also, I'll share my LinkedIn and Twitter information at the end. So let's just jump right in, okay? Let's see. So, who am I? Just for a little bit of background on myself. My name is Bart Farrell, as I mentioned. I'm originally from the United States, but I've been living in Spain for the last 13 years in the north, in a city called Punjab. And in terms of my profile, it's not the most typical profile you'll see. I come from a non-technical background, and one of the projects that I'm most actively involved in right now is a podcast called CubeFM, which is also going to be one of the sources, primary source used for the topic that I chose for today's talk. It's a podcast, but I'll explain more about that in detail later. I've been a CNCF ambassador since 2021. That seems like a long time. And I got involved as an ambassador through the Data on Kubernetes community. I'll explain that in a second. Another thing that I do is I'm one of the local organizers here in Bilbao for the CNCF Bilbao meetup. That we have a local meetup where we get together every month to share different ideas, problems, have conversations about different cloud-native technologies that people are using. I'd like to know more about the local meetups going on in Lahore as well as other parts of Pakistan, where people are getting together and sharing ideas. It's a wonderful way to get to know each other and really grow as a community. The Data on Kubernetes community, I was leading that from 2020 to 2023, and it's a community that's focused on making it easier to run stateful workloads. So let's say database storage. We can also be speaking about streaming analytics workloads on Kubernetes. Traditionally thought of something as being quite complicated or challenging. This community was started in 2020 in order to address those issues, so that engineers wouldn't have to suffer through the difficulties that perhaps they would have had they done alone. Right? The whole idea of community is very, very important here. People coming together to share knowledge. I've been fortunate enough to be a KubeCon speaker on 5 separate occasions, speaking about different topics ranging from the Humans of Cloud Native series, talking about different ways that people can contribute that are non-code based, things of that nature. I've also happily been involved in being a co-organizer for KCD Guatemala, KCD Islamabad, and also this year for KCD Lahore. Obviously, unfortunate that I can't be there in person, but I think it's been organized and done with a lot of positive energy, a lot of passion of getting people together to show all of the talent, all the amazing things that are going on in Lahore, in the local community. I think it's amazing. I'm also a musician and play guitar, bass, drums, and I started making hip-hop beats about 7 years ago. I've always been very passionate about hip-hop music, and you'll probably see a rap that I created for the event, in which I try my very best to speak Punjab, but I hope that you'll be a very forgiving audience and know that the intent that is behind it, not necessarily the execution. But it's something that I brought as well to the Kubernetes ecosystem when I was in the Data on Kubernetes community, and since then I've written a lot of raps without the use of ChatGPT about the different technologies that people are using as a way to celebrate that, and also as a way to combine something that I like very much, which is music, in this case hip hop specifically, with something that's more related to the community. I'm also an amateur boxer. I've liked martial arts since I was a child. I was a child a very long time ago. I'm 38 years old. But I've been practicing different forms of martial arts for a long time, and nowadays I'm boxing. And last but not least is something that's very important for me is I believe in people, no matter where they're from, no matter what their background. I think that everybody deserves a chance, and it's incredible what can happen when you give people, when you give people that chance. It's something that's very, very important. So, 10 years of Kubernetes, right? You saw that in the very first title, first slide. And it's 2024. Kubernetes got started in 2014. What was, just for trivia's sake, of course I can't interact with you directly, but just to test your knowledge, it's okay if you don't know. But what was, Kubernetes originally called at Google? So Kubernetes was originally a tool that was used internally at Google, and back in the day, it was called Borg, right? Some of you may be too young to have watched Star Trek, but Star Trek is, there's an entire race of people in Star Trek that are called the Borg, and there's an inside joke backstory about that in Google. You can read about that online. Also, in the trivia, Kubernetes comes from which language? Let's see. It comes from Greek, right? So Kubernetes in Greek means the helmsman or the pilot, right? The person who's navigating the ship. That's where that comes from. For more information, though, if you haven't done so already, it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or super veteran Kubernetes user, I would highly recommend checking out the Kubernetes documentary, which you can find on YouTube. It's totally free. There are 2 parts, and you get a lot of really helpful backstory on the context in which Kubernetes was born, right? The different sorts of technological conflicts, or let's say competitions, competitive races that were happening there around cloud, different cloud providers, the need for better technologies around container orchestration. Kubernetes is not the only technology that's a container orchestrator. Very famously, there's a technology called Apache Mesos. I mentioned that a bit. But like I said, really, really good documentary. Highly recommend checking it out. Doesn't matter what your level is. It's accessible to everybody, and it's very, very helpful. But just thinking about this context, right? Of here we are in 2024, 10 years since Kubernetes started, and in a lot of ways, we're often thinking about Kubernetes in the context of technologies like Linux. Do you know how old Linux is? Well, Linux recently just celebrated its 33rd birthday. Right? So it's 23 years old in Kubernetes. It's thinking about how technologies mature, how they go from a sort of Wild West phase, then becoming easier, more adopted, not just by cutting edge startups, but let's say by more traditional industries or industries that might be reluctant to change or resistant to change. Eventually, these technologies become commonplace, or what some people say become boring. Boring in the sense of more predictable, easier to use, not so much of a steep learning curve, things of that nature, right? Let's keep moving. And in my personal case, everybody has a Kubernetes story, right? All of you have a Kubernetes story. Can you think about the first time that you heard about Kubernetes? First time in my case was in 2018. I was working at a British startup, and I happened to have my desk placed next to the DevOps team. I was working as a talent manager at the time, doing things related to organizing events, also internal knowledge management, things of that sort. And it just so happened that my desk was put next to the DevOps team, and so I was hearing about all the different technologies they were using. And in 2018, they mentioned that they were going to start using Kubernetes. Docker until that point. And before I said, other technologies that were around then, such as Apache Mesos, but they ended up going with Kubernetes, and it's obviously become the de facto standard system. 2020 to 2023, continued my experience with Kubernetes. In the data Kubernetes community, like I said, focused on running stateful workloads. And through other projects also in the CNCF ecosystem, working with different startups, but now primary focus in the Kubernetes ecosystem in my case would be the podcast QFN. We're now working on our 4th season. We have episodes coming out pretty much every week, so you can check all that out. I will explain that a little bit later. But I really am curious, think about your journey. How did it start? Who was there in the beginning? How did you first hear about Kubernetes? What was the situation perhaps in a company where you realized, I think the current situation, the current technology we're using is not going to be able to provide the value that we need. We need to look into alternatives, and Kubernetes perhaps can be one, right? Think about that, right? What have you learned along the way? What are things that if you could go back, you would tell yourself, right? If you had to go back in time, what would you tell yourself? Like, hey, you're going to start with Kubernetes, make sure you learn this. And these are the things I want you to be thinking about, right? And also, of course, generally speaking, in the learning journey, there are people along the way. Who has been instrumental in your journey, helping you learn, helping you grow as an engineer and as a professional? Really important to keep these things in mind, right? Good. Now, in terms of what is KubeFM, it's part of the Learn K8 network, right? So it's all about training, helping people get better with Kubernetes. And there are other, we can say branches of the Learn Kubernetes network. One is Kube Careers, you are looking for a job, jobs that are exclusively, focused on for Kubernetes engineers, and all over the world. Kube events, way to find out about different events that are happening, whether they're online or in person. But in terms of KubeFM, the core focus really is technical content written by technical people, right? So we don't have someone coming on and just speaking about a product per se. We have someone coming on speaking about, we have engineers coming on speaking about their experience, the problems they solved, and how they solved them, right? Without trying to push any sort of commercial agenda, right? We have this technical problem, we have different options in terms of how to solve it, this is how we did it. In terms of the topics, we have a lot of different topics that are covered. You can see some of the titles here, but there's a full, like I said, a full range. But one of the things that we decided to do in order to celebrate 10 years of Kubernetes was to do a Kubernetes series. Right? So we did about 30 interviews, interviewing CNCF ambassadors from over 20 different countries, and the format was pretty straightforward, right? So we decided a couple of questions that we're going to ask them. There are lots of different, Kubernetes is very large. So when we're talking about Kubernetes features, there are many, many aspects about it, right? Technical as well as non-technical. But what's your least favorite Kubernetes feature, right? Because let's face it, there are going to be some features that we like a lot about Kubernetes ecosystem, and others that we would hope, would change. And so thinking about the present, then the second question, looking forward towards the future, what do you hope for the next 10 years of Kubernetes, right? So currently, if we're in 2024, how do we imagine, ideally, Kubernetes will be in 2034? That seems like a long ways away. I will be 48 years old. Oof, I'll be old. But most of you will probably not be that old then. But what I'm saying is thinking about the next steps that we'll be taking, right? And identifying the first part. Don't be a part of the problem. Be a part of the solution. If there's a feature that you don't like, what are you actively doing to try to change it? Right? Are you interacting with the maintainers of a certain CNCF project, perhaps, that can make some improvements there? Are you raising awareness about this? What are you doing to try to make this happen? And like I said, looking forward towards the future. What are the things that need to happen to have that ideal future that you're hoping for? So, in terms of the responses that we got, in terms of least favorites, sorry, I need to adjust this slightly. There we go. In terms of least favorite features, there are some sort of classic ones, but then there are ones that are a little bit more niche. So, in terms of least favorite features, one of the things that was mentioned time and time again, and remember, these are CNCF ambassadors who respond to this. Overall complexity and learning, right? The amount of time that it takes to become proficient at Kubernetes. Someone says they're a Kubernetes expert. What does that actually mean? Can you be a Kubernetes expert? Is it possible to know absolutely everything there is to know about Kubernetes? But it's one of the things that people frequently mention, that in order for me to know this, I need to learn that. To understand this, I need to learn that. So that then becomes a bit taxing for some people, or a bit challenging, that they need to organize their learning journey so they don't feel they have to learn everything all at once, right? That these parts are interconnected, and so they have, we say, like, don't miss the forest for the trees. Try to have a more global vision of it, and not getting bogged down in just a particular area. Trying to figure out exactly what they do need to know, and perhaps other things that aren't absolutely essential. Another one that was frequently mentioned, networking and network policies. Right? So network policy. We have a podcast. We did a particular podcast about this in QFM, and it's come up in other conversations I've had. But a lot of people find the networking aspect to be quite challenging. Right? There have been some improvements. There are ongoing improvements being made in different areas. But like I said, something that people identified. Another resource request limit. Sorry. Another one that was interesting was CRDs, custom resource definitions. Some people did complain about it, saying that they felt that it made it unnecessarily complex or tedious. But then other people talked about how CRDs are their absolute favorite feature on Kubernetes. So I guess, of course, there are differences of opinion. Our sample, we did interview 20,000 people. But it is interesting to keep in mind that some things that one person may not like, for another person can be absolutely fantastic. Ingress. Ingress is frequently mentioned. Luckily, with the work that's being done on Gateway API, it seems like a lot of the pain points of ingress should be put to rest. That was something that was mentioned quite frequently. Interestingly enough, in my particular case, having been in the Data on Kubernetes community for 3 years, hearing about how writing stateful workloads in Kubernetes is very challenging, doing things like backup and restore. It was interesting to see that that's still a pain point for a fair amount of people. But I'd like to know about you. What about yours? What's the thing that you found most challenging about Kubernetes? It can be anything. But I think it's good to identify it and know that you're not going to be the first person to say, oh, this is really difficult for me. Other people are probably suffering from a similar pain point. And those are people that you could probably connect with to get ideas about, hey, what resources might help me improve, okay? In terms of the learning curve, that's exactly what I want to address here. How have you learned Kubernetes? There are lots of different ways to do it. You have to figure out the best way that works going to work best for you. Is it blogs? Is it books? Is it podcasts? Is it contributing to a CNCF project? Is it docs? Is it going to meetups? Is it CNCF Kubernetes Slack? What's it going to be? Right? Everyone has a different learning style, so it doesn't mean that you have to do one or the other. You need to do the one that works best for you. But the point is, you need to find something out there. Because just hoping that you're going to get better at this or it's going to get easier probably won't take you very far. Okay? Then for the second question, when we ask about the future, people reference this, platform promoting platforms, sort of paraphrasing a quote from Kelsey Hightower. If you want to look into more into that later, Kelsey tweeted about that more than a couple of times. Like I said at the beginning about Linux, becoming more boring. Right? The Kubernetes will become something that's not so wild and crazy, that becomes a little bit more under control. Another thing that, becoming more user-friendly, that it doesn't require as much pain to get started. Other people said, this is also related to least favorite features, more Helm, that's design is fundamentally flawed. Also, podcasting video about that. More automation, but when you more automation, partially related to that as well too. A fair amount of comments around AI and ML becoming ever present in the Kubernetes ecosystem, but in what way, right? I think we can all agree that there's a big boom on AI and also machine learning right now, but how can we actually see that on the ground? There is the AI, artificial intelligence working group in the CNCF. If you're interested in that, that's a very good place to find out about the things that will be happening. I believe they bring the white paper, so I guess that's a good resource. But it's anybody's game, right? It's anybody's guess, right? What's going to be happening in the next 10 years? A lot of that will depend on the people that stay in the community, right? This is, community driven. So depending on the kind of community that we're able to cultivate, the kind of people that we're able to bring together, the local communities that we're able to incorporate as well, or through events such as this one, like KCD Lahore, these things will be absolutely essential, no matter what happens with all the other technological events. So yeah, now pretty much getting towards the end. So thank you very much for watching my talk today. If you'd like to connect, if you'd like to know more about the things that are going on in my area of the Kubernetes ecosystem in the CNCF, please reach out to me on LinkedIn or on Twitter. It would be an absolute pleasure to speak to you. Once again, massive shout out to the KCD and Lahore organizers. Thank you for your hard work. I really hope you're enjoying this event. A ton of work has gone into making it happen. So please tell all the volunteers, staff, and organizers, thank you very much. From me, as well as from all the other folks who are speaking. It's been a pleasure to participate in this, and I look forward to interacting with all of you soon. Take care. Cheers.
Hi, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. Thank you so much for having me. I really look forward to presenting this topic to you today. Not only does it resonate in the entire world of technology, but it's also a presentation that holds dear to my heart. So as we get started, I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully the next time I'm in Lahore or Pakistan, we can meet individually so I can help you with the growth of your career, but also answer any questions you might have. You will see within the slides my QR code for my LinkedIn profile. Please connect with me. I'm also available to connect you with any other mentors that you need throughout your career. So thank you again for having me, and let's get started. All right, hopefully you can see this. So again, like I mentioned, I'm very excited to talk about this topic today because it's so relevant within today's world. From code to leadership, navigating the tech landscape as a woman. But keep in mind, there's also some tips and tricks in here if you aren't a woman to successfully navigate your career in tech. So whether you're starting in just starting out your career or aiming for leadership roles, this is designed to inspire, empower, and provide practical strategies for your journey. Our industry is evolving rapidly, and we'll go through trending technologies within this presentation, but that means we have all of these opportunities for our success. So with that being said, for women specifically, this landscape and industry can be both exciting and challenging. But despite these challenges, there's tremendous opportunities for women in tech today. Companies are increasingly recognizing the value of diverse teams, and initiatives are being launched to support women in their careers. So let's keep exploring how to navigate this terrain successfully as a team, regardless of your gender, and move from technical roles to leadership positions. So again, I said my name is Shannon Ryan. I'm the Vice President of Veritas Automata. And to give you a little bit about me, who I am personally outside of my professional role, I'm a lover of Legos, specifically Lego plants. I don't really have too much of a green thumb, and I love kaleidoscopes. These hobbies reflect my passion for creativity and seeing the world through different perspectives. I'm also deeply enthusiastic about nurturing growth, whether it's in the realm of technology, personal development, or fostering innovation in our digital landscape. A little bit about Veritas Automata. The team is dedicated to solving complex automation problems around digital and physical chain of custody, which empower our customers to drive that operational efficiency. We do leverage cloud-native technologies such as Kubernetes, also Hyperledger Fabric through IBM and Linux. And we've designed and built scalable solutions that serve as the technological backbone for our customers, generating about $10 billion in revenue from that for them for the past 5 years. And a little bit of an even more deeper fact. In 2023 alone, one of our customers managed billions of transactions across more than 100,000 IoT devices, all orchestrated through our robust Kubernetes-powered infrastructure. So this global platform enables our customers to address chain of custody and automation challenges with strategic precision, unmatched security, and unprecedented success. Our diverse team is comprised of engineers, product and project managers, math scientists, and creative problem solvers who truly thrive on tackling the most challenging innovation problems. So here, let's get into the meat of this presentation. The current tech landscape for women make up about 28% of workforce from a global perspective. In Pakistan, while we've seen growth, women still represent about 14% of IT professionals. However, these numbers are changing, right, for the positive. We're seeing more women into fields like artificial intelligence, data science, and cybersecurity. For instance, women now make up 26% of artificial intelligence professionals globally, which has been an increase from 22% in 2018, which is excellent. So these challenges are real, from gender bias and stereotypes to the lack of female roles models in leadership positions, but so are the opportunities. The demand for diverse perspectives in tech is growing, creating pathways for women not just to participate, but to lead. So now let's talk about career growth, right? This is why we're all here. The journey from a technological role to leadership isn't always a straight line. So think about creative ways to do that. And also think of it as a career lattice rather than a career ladder. You might move laterally, diagonally, or even step back from moving forward, but there are various paths you can take. So you can start from a technological expert. This is deepening your expertise to become a principal engineer or architect, or project management, leading teams and driving project success, product management, shaping product strategy and vision, or even executive leadership, moving from C-suite roles to CTO, CPO, CIO, or even if you're coming from a digital lens like myself, think about how you can become a chief digital officer or a chief marketing officer from your technical expertise. So how do we navigate these challenges and progress from technical roles to leadership? The key is to remain flexible and open to opportunities that align with your strengths and passions. The first step is to recognize that there's not one size fits all path, right? Look at this diagram that's moving. You can come from different angles and you can still meet your goal of that blinking pink box. Also, think about what's crucial in setting your career goals and seeking opportunities. For example, look for roles that allow you to take on more responsibility, whether it's leading a project or managing a small team. Continuous learning is also a key, like upskilling in the areas of management, communication, strategic thinking can also open doors to leadership. Remember, each step that you take to align will enhance your career goals. So let's take a look at some success local stories, right, for y'all. We have Janan Arara, the founder of the Catalyst Labs, who has been instrumental in nurturing Pakistan's tech ecosystem globally. Then there's Reshma Sanji, founder of Girls Who Code. I'm sure many of you are a part of these two groups on LinkedIn. If not, then I absolutely encourage you to become networked within these two leaders. These two women do share common strategies: continuous learning, building a strong network, taking calculated risks, and advocating for themselves and others. Remember, success stories look different for everyone, and the important thing is to define what it means to you and moving forward towards that with perseverance, strategic networking, and seizing opportunities when they arise. So let's talk about those leadership skills. What makes an effective leader in tech? Truly is a combination of hard and soft skills. Technical proficiency is also crucial, but equally important are communication. Communication skills are also vital, not just giving clear instructions, but listening and facilitating open dialogue. Understanding and managing emotions through emotional intelligence. Empathy is also crucial, and understanding your team's needs and challenges helps build trust and loyalty. Then we get into seeing the bigger picture through strategic thinking, which is essential for aligning your team's work and the company goals. Decisiveness and with decision making is another key quality. Leaders must take and make decisions confidently, even when its stakes are high and there's a lot of pressure. Then adaptability. Changing is the only constant in our dynamic world, and it's not just about surviving in the present, but thriving in the future. Embracing change is pivotal to our growth, both personally and professionally. This truly opens doors to new opportunities, challenges us to innovate and push us beyond our comfort zones, and also by welcoming change, we become adaptable and resilient, ready to navigate the uncertainties of our digital age. And truly, this mindset allows us to transform obstacles and stepping stones, leveraging each shift as a chance to evolve and excel. But remember, it's not the strongest who thrive, but the most adaptable to change. And finally, this one is my favorite, is trend analysis. Understanding the market of where technology is headed to develop these skills and seek out leadership opportunities in your current role. Lead a project, mentor a junior colleague, or spearhead a new initiative based off of trends or what's upcoming. Remember, these leadership skills can be learned and improved over time. So thinking of trends, and as we stand on this precipice of unprecedented technological advancement, it's essential to understand the power of trending technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, specifically Hyperledger Fabric. Internet of Things, cloud computing. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are not just buzzwords, they're pushing the way we analyze data, make decisions, and drive efficiency in every industry, right? Blockchain, particularly with platforms like Hyperledger Fabric, is redefining security and transparency in our transactions and data sharing. IoT is connecting the physical and digital worlds, enabling smarter and more responsive environments. And of course, cloud computing. specifically Kubernetes, is providing the scalable, flexible infrastructure needed to support all of these initiatives and innovations, right? Embracing these technologies is not merely about staying current, it's about harnessing their potential to innovate, solve complex problems, and drive growth. And as leaders and innovators, or heading to become those two types of titles, we have the power to leverage these tools to build the future where technology enhances every aspect of our lives. And so, diving into artificial intelligence, machine learning, hyperledger fabric, IoT, Kubernetes specifically, we see how they are reshaping industries and creating new opportunities. These advancements are catalysts for change, driving us to continually evolve and innovate. Now this slide, the cycle of growth, we're going to talk about how you can get there through investing in yourself as a technologist. So this brings a crucial aspect of thriving in this digital age. Embracing these technologies is just the beginning, but to truly thrive, we must continue and to commit to learning and professional development. By doing so, we build a supportive professional network and gain the confidence to tackle any challenges that come our way. So here on the left-hand side, we have continuous learning and professional development. In our changing world, staying ahead with the latest trends and acquiring new skills is imperative. This commitment to not only learning, but also enhances our expertise to keep us adaptable and ready to seize new opportunities. Whether it's enrolling in courses, attending workshops, or staying curious, continuous learning fuels our growth and keeps us ahead of the curve. So then we go to promoting ourselves. Having a strong personal brand is crucial, and we'll get into what a personal brand is in the next slide. But this is mainly about showcasing your unique skills and experiences and values. Your personal brand sets you apart and highlights what you bring to the table. Utilize your platforms like LinkedIn, GitHub, Reddit, Medium to share your achievements, insights, and professional journey. Remember though, your personal brand is a powerful tool that can open doors to new opportunities and collaborations. And then we get into growing your network. Building and nurturing a professional network is invaluable. A strong network provides support, mentorship, and opportunities for collaboration. Engage with your peers, attend industry events like KCD Lahore, and connect with professionals who inspire you. If you're a marketer with an audience, within the audience, you might use the term social amplification. This concept emphasizes the power of your network in spreading your message and enhancing your reach. By leveraging social amplification, you can extend your influence and create a larger impact. Your network is not just a list of contacts, it's a community that fosters mutual growth and success. By growing your network, you create a supportive environment and gain the confidence to tackle challenges head on. So, incorporating these elements into your cycle growth results in robust professional network and the confidence to face any challenge. Look on the right-hand side of the screen. So, if you complete these 3 big steps, then you have that colleague and supportive system, but then also the confidence to tackle more challenges throughout their life. So let's get into what actually a personal brand is. A personal brand is more than just a buzzword. You'll hear that a lot within marketing, personal brand, or branding in general, but it truly is more than just a buzzword. It's a unique combination of skills, experiences, and personality that you want to seek. Think of it as your professional identity. It's a way to distinguish yourself in your field and leave a lasting impression. Your personal brand is the story you tell about yourself, both online and offline. It's how you present your expertise, values, and passions to the world. Building a strong personal brand involves being authentic and consistent in how you communicate and engage with others. It's about showcasing your strengths of what makes you unique. Whether your LinkedIn profile, GitHub, Reddit, or even your Medium. Your interactions with your colleagues and peers Every touch point is the opportunity to reinforce your brand. A well-defined personal brand opens doors to new opportunities, attracts like-minded professionals, and builds trust and credibility within your industry. It allows you to take the control of the narrative about who you are and what you stand for, rather than leaving it to chance. And in today's age, right, where first impressions often happen online, having a compelling personal brand is more important than ever. Think of it as your first impression when you meet someone personally and in person. This is the foundation upon which you build your professional relationships and advance your career. So as we move forward, let's explore how to build that personal brand that reflects your true self and helps you stand out in a crowded marketplace. Now that you understand what a personal brand is, here is how we do that process. On the left-hand side of your screen, right, we talked about defining your brand, your authentic self through strengths and passions, and creating that personal mission statement. Then step 2 is your online presence that I just mentioned in the previous slide. Maintaining those profiles, creating and sharing relevant content, and then your professional image. Now this is huge. Ensure that it's consistent across all platforms. So regardless of what platform a person is visiting, they will see that same story told on different types of outlets. And then creating that professional blog or portfolio or that content that aligns with your personal brand. I promise, if you do these 3 steps, you will absolutely see a difference in your connections and who you meet online. So now, we're gonna review a few examples that we use within the team at Veritas Automata. So specifically, we'll talk about these 2 profiles and David Ayala on the left-hand side. David Ayala recently completed the CKA certification, right? I mentioned in the cycle of growth of completing those certifications and showcasing your brand. So here, we actually have a couple success stories. So he posted on his LinkedIn, "Hello, my network. I'm proud to announce that I officially am a certified CKA." Okay, this is excellent. He put hashtags there. He announced it to his network. Then you see that he updates his header information underneath his name. So it says CKA, right? A huge opportunity here. So when someone is searching for profiles, if a potential customer is looking into the team, they see automatically that he is certified. Additionally, he took 2 extra steps that a lot of people don't do on their profiles, but he implemented them. He added it as a skill within his skill section, and he also added it as a license and certification in the bottom of his profile. And then finally, he added it as a featured image or a featured section onto his profile as well. Implementing these 4 small but critical steps absolutely helps him be that thought leader, and he continues now writing blogs about being a CKA. He's also working towards other certifications and with the goal of becoming a CNCF astronaut with all of the certifications. So taking these steps will absolutely help you expand your network, but also become that thought leadership in and outside of your current position, which will help you with your goal of becoming leadership for an expert. So before I wrap up, and we're coming close to the end of this recording and this session today, I want to take a moment to talk about the things that you can also do to help with your network and making it your net worth. So, building a diverse professional network. To start, focus on building a diverse network and connect with individuals from various sectors within technology, including academia, industry, and entrepreneurs. This diverse network provides broader perspectives and can open unexpected opportunities. And make this a habit to keep in touch with your connections regularly, ensuring that these relationships are genuinely and mutually beneficial. Next is leveraging social media, right? We talked about this. These platforms, along with industry-specific forums, are powerful tools for networking, sharing knowledge, and staying up to date on tech trends and job opportunities. Engage regularly by sharing insight, participating in discussions, and connecting with those industry professionals to maximize that benefit. Just like you're doing today is attending a conference, workshop, and a meetup. This is a key strategy for enhancing your network. Participating in these events and conferences offers prime opportunities for face-to-face networking, learning from leading experts, and showcasing your skills through presentations or competitions even. And don't just attend though, regularly engage and actively engage and follow up with people to make sure that those connections stay alive. Then contribute to open source projects and collaboration. This is an excellent way to enhance your technological skills and build that reputation within the community. Collaboration on projects demonstrates your expertise, commitment, and ability to work as a part of a team. And it's also a practical way to contribute to the community while also gaining those valuable experiences. And finally, mentorship and continuous learning are crucial for your career advancement, like I mentioned previously within this presentation. Seek those mentors in the tech field who can provide guidance and support. At the same time, be open to mentoring others, right? This is a reciprocal relationship that fosters growth for both parties. And remember, in this fast-paced world of technology that we all know, continuous learning and adaptation are essential to staying ahead. So before I wrap up, that was previous on other slides, please connect with me. Our talented women who are not only contributing to, but leading the change within our industry. At Veritas Automata, we truly believe in the power of diversity, and our team is a testament to what can be achieved when women are empowered and given the opportunities to excel. If you're looking to join a company that values diversity, fosters growth, and supports women in tech, Veritas Automata might be the place for you. So on the left-hand side of this screen, the QR code to our website with all of our job opportunities. And again, if you don't see something that resonates with your skill set, reach out to me, and I'd love to have that extended conversation with you. So, again, my LinkedIn QR code here, but remember that your journey in tech is unique, and embrace those changes to celebrate victories and to never stop learning. You have the power to shape not just your career, but the future of the tech industry. And I look forward to connecting with each and every one of you. And thank you so much for your time. I hope you have the best time at KCD Lahore, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Assalamualaikum. Hello everyone. Thank you for being here today. So our mission will take you on a journey where we will explore how to serve the waves of the investigation and the investigative often called CSE. So we will be looking how tools like Google Kubernetes engine, actions and RCD, and help us to navigate these waters smoothly. So before we move into getting to know CV, let me give a quick introduction about me. So my name is Shaman Pereda. I'm currently working as a software engineering consultant for a startup. I'm on the senior CA ambassador. I'm the company in Sri Lanka and Sri Lanka. So far we have hosted two KCDs in Sri Lanka. So in introduction, we'll completely explain. So imagine you are standing on a beach, the sun is shining, and the waves are rolling in. It's peaceful. Those waves carry power and connection. So in much same way, CICD is a powerful process in modern software development. Just like surfers must study with the right equipment and mindset to ride the waves, we as a developer need to be aware of the right tools and strategies to successfully navigate the CSV pipeline. So let's start our journey and see how we can master these areas effectively. So So the surfboard, choosing the right tools. So before we hitting the waves, we need to pick the right surfboard based on our body weight, our experience levels, and our need. So the same thing apply when it comes to the CICD, when it comes to making a CICD pipeline for our application. So here, how GKE, Argo CD, and interaction from the perfect board for your CICD. The first tool on our board is Kubernetes engine or GKE, which provides us a scalable platform for running our containers application. So next up, we have RGB, a tool that at the heart of something called GitOps. So GitOps is like having a detailed plan for your service. So in the cloud native world, we call it as a declarative approach. So every changes to a infrastructure or application is recorded in the Git repository using this YAML file. So ensuring everything is automated, version controls, and easy to organize. Next, finally, we have the machine, which is our automation engine, triggering the base and the control as soon as code can submit. Together, these tools form perfect software to write the CSV base. So, a good, uh, so what is CSV? A good server know how to read the base before cutting noise. So, similarly, understanding C and CD is crucial before we dive into the using these tools. Uh, so continuous integration or CI is like a constantly checking your search for facts, ensuring that your code is always in good shapes. So every time you make change, the code is automatically tested and merged. So any issues are caught early. So on the other hand, Congress really velocity is about making sure there's a code always ready to hit the border. It's ensure application is always in deployment state, so you can release updates quickly and confidently. So this diagram shows you how the CI/CD pipeline we're gonna page look like. So it's basically we are uh, when you make a commit or push to our Git repository, which will trigger the GitHub actions. Then that action will be with the local image for our application. Then it will push that local image to the GitHub container registry. So since GitHub has their own container registry, we can use that. So then after that, it's also update the GitHub repo that I mentioned earlier. So which basically updating the manifest of that configuration file there. So after that, RCD, which is always checking the status of the GitHub repo and it's inside the cluster. So it will detect that change or we can set up a webhook to trigger the RCD as well, but OS basically RCD always checks automatically. So when RCD detect that change or we trigger the webhook, so it will update the application to the latest release and it will update the application to the latest release. So let me show a comparison between the CD tools and the cognitive landscape. The first one is RCD, that's the tools we are using for this talk. So the next we have that one, which is like more advanced, or like more advanced cognitive CD tool. Like if you want more control on these things, so you can use something like TikTok. Next we have Jenkins, and then we have class. So I personally haven't worked with class, but when I saw when I read some article, I saw that they don't have a graphical user interface and RCTS, but it's lightweight as well. So backing out. Centrally setting up your environment. So before you can write the base, you need to type it out and then you post it. That's the best thing in the setting and the CSV mastery. So in our case, this means setting up our environment. So we will start creating our Gmail cluster, this our application we run. Then we will integrate RCE to manage our internal automatically and ensuring that everything is our custom match what we find our data repository. So finally, we will calculate the direction to figure our CSV workflow whenever the code. So as I said earlier, for this demonstration, I have two repo. I have created two folders. The first one contains the application of our demo. There is a demo connectivity demo, which is connecting all the many ways where we could they are like a parliament of principle we are carrying all the many things in there. So let me show application uh, folder. So here how it looks like you are quick overview about it. So here uh, this repository contains Go application, a small Go application which has some endpoints, and also it has localized and it contains the with no unwanted files during the Docker big test, and also it's contained the GitHub action just to build a Docker image and push to the uh, GitHub container registry. So it's just like I just use their template. So actually, in the repository, you can go to the GitHub Action tab and there, get a new workflow. So after that, selecting the public local container, whether you can in the template for the template for that. So everything is they have done. You just need to update the GitHub Action file to the rest of the things. So and another thing is we also need the Kubernetes cluster, right? So let me go there. So this is our GCP console. I have already created a project for this in this console. So like so if you are new to if I new to Google platform, it's basically like there are so many uh, products and services available here. You can use the computer engine, Kubernetes engine, console search using GitHub Actions, or let me show that we will go to this here. So in this repository, there is a package. Means we need to commit these changes and push to the Windows repository. So in order to do that, you need to set up new for this. The first one is change gene directly to the GitHub server. Then we can use an email as one email.
Remote लेना है
Username the this one. Then the everything. I just need to write the no, let's set just the file that we edited, which is just the camera. But like that, let's go back to the repo. So as you can see now, the CSV pipeline, the development pipeline has successfully executed. So it's code that is now creating the latest code. So it's gonna take some time tools here. So writing the values and best practices and tips. So writing the values is all about balance and control. Similarly, when it comes to the CI/CD pipelines, we require careful attention of best practices in our CI/CD. So the first one is follow the principles and everything should be declared here. That people will aspects working day. So discuss for as a for next week project. And thank you all for being a part of this session. It's a pleasure for the next KCD Lahore community.
For this beautiful and inclusive community event. Congratulations to all of the organizers, to the community as well for creating such a wonderful place for people to learn, connect, and share. These events are so momentous and so fantastic to participate in, and it's just an absolute pleasure to be here. Also, many thanks to those of you who are joining my session today, titled Speaking on the Challenges of Testing in the Modern CI/CD Pipeline. We're going to look at some different strategies and things that we can do to try to have a better deployments. So, one second, let's see if I can get this speech going. There we go. So before we begin, let me introduce myself. My name is Courtney Anderson. I am a mother, and in my free time, when my kids are either at school or sleeping, I'm a developer advocate for Cookshop, where we build some very cool and hopefully some very useful open source projects focused on solving problems of Kubernetes users. In addition to helping Cookshop, I've also spent some time helping to organize the students who have filled out community effort. Kubernetes community days, and this year I had the opportunity to help organize KCD is on the line, along with a group of other fantastic people, including my friend Saeed Sakra. Saeed, if you're there, hi, hope you're doing well. I also try to participate and support as many other collaborative community events as possible and as time permits. Outside of the need for testing is quite large, right? Testing in CI/CD pipelines is crucial because it helps you ensure software quality and successful deployments. This is something that's important and pressing in rapidly evolving environments. Modern CI/CD pipelines demand rigorous testing to maintain reliability, consistency in software releases, and a lot of times you need really strategic approaches to make them work well. Testing encompasses different layers, like unit testing, integration, end-to-end. They all validate different functionalities and the performance of your applications throughout the pipeline. These are all things that become more and more important. New tests, right? DevOps teams are also constantly having to adjust testing environments, maintain secure practices, and while they're trying to integrate all of this into an already complex CI/CD where they're juggling a lot of different things, this oftentimes becomes a big bottleneck for people. So testing can quickly become a nightmare at scale. And so why? Why is this the case? Well, it's because the large majority of testing frameworks and tools simply were not built with Kubernetes and multi-model microservices in mind, right? They were built thinking about testing one specific thing in a less dynamic environment. And at a much smaller scale. And so CI/CD pipelines, which we already defined, were built to scale the integration and deployment of applications, but they are less than ideal of a solution for actually orchestrating and automating your tests, because that's also not what they were built for. And this means that most teams have made the leap to Kubernetes and they're left to create their own homegrown test execution machines that look a little bit like this one, right? All over the place. So these types of pieced together testing machines often have too many components to juggle, making them super cumbersome, they're inefficient, and oftentimes they are seen as a nuance that slows down the CI/CD pipeline, which means that a lot of people don't really want to participate in that either because the experience isn't good. But the reality is to ship quality code that isn't going to fail, you can only go as fast as your testing pipeline can give you reliable results, right? And actionable results. So while testing is a sticky point for most CI/CD pipelines, it is a necessity that we cannot overlook and that we have to find some solution to. But turns out there are people looking to find solutions to this, not just in your company and other places, but there is a group of folks working on creating an open source project that hopes to make these obstacles and testing mechanisms that we see here a thing of the past. And so that's where we're going to introduce today TestCube. For those of you who might not have heard of TestCube, TestCube is a test orchestration and execution framework that is powered by Kubernetes, which is great. Tests can be added to any Kubernetes cluster using CRDs. So this is a Kubernetes native component. It's compatible with pretty much every testing tool out there. And its main component, which is an agent that deploys to your Kubernetes cluster, is actually free and open source. And it can be all found on the CNCF landscape as well as on GitHub. You can run them all, and then you're going to see them all. And once you've run the test, they are all in the same over there. You still get plan. This is the value in this open source tool. So since we're short on time. Hi, Casey.
Hello everybody, for coming this talk with the Gravity model using GitHub, using tools like CargoCD, Kubernetes, Harbor, etc. So at first I want to do my first. My name is Alfonso. I work as expert S3 in GitHub Digital. Jorge, please, can you do it yourself?
Okay, I'm Jorge Currado. I work with Alfonso and other folks. I am principal SRE, the digital hub of Lidl, and let's go further and start the session.
The first thing that I want to explain is what is deployment. I don't know, probably everybody knows what is deployment, but deployment is the process to transfer file from develop environment to production environment. It's making an application available to receive requests and for the use that people can use the application. So if I come back 20 years ago, when I started to work, I remember that I started in a small company, and we have several servers. We have, for example, one server for the application, another for Windows application, and when I had to, I need to introduce a new feature in our web pages. So I had to copy the file from my local machine to the server using this kind of commands. Probably FTP is the most common that we use. So this process for making deployment is good in a small company. I don't know, probably some small companies still using this model, but in a big company like Lidl, for example, it's not the best way. So this model presented at least two problems. It's a manual process and no backups exist. So some years later, it appears a new concept that it was the code repositories. Code repositories solve at least 3-4 problems. The first one is it enhances collaboration with things, with people, because you can make a change with conflict. The second one is that you have a history of every mail that you has made into the repo. The first is the backup, because as you know, core repository is a central storage, and this finally core repositories is the best way for documentation. I always say that documentation is in the repo and it's not in the software pages. So in the next picture, is the moment to introduce a new concept that is the concept pipelines. As you know, pipelines is a series of automatic stage for deploying application automatically. In this picture, you can, this is the real scenario that we started earlier 5 years ago, are wait a long time, 10 minutes, in order to arrive to production environment. So it's, we have to
The point is that why don't use the most extended repository source that we have? Why not using Git as the source of truth? Because at the end of the day, not that I can go in and check all the workloads that I have in a single, which is nice, the application. Not for testing them, but for roll out them in a safe way. Because you can have time in a expected time. So let's finish quite faster. Thanks for your time. Thanks for attending to this session. Do you want to say something, Alfonso?
no, thank you for attending this talk. It's an honor to speak for us. Thank you. And thank you for your explanation. Bye bye. Hello everybody for coming to this talk.
Sasrikal, KCD Lahore. Welcome to my talk. Jacob, coach, consultant. I've been also a lead DevOps engineer and site reliability engineer and a software engineer. Outside my job duties, I'm an organizer of Kubernetes and cloud-native events, including KCD in the Netherlands. And yeah, I collaborate with some meetups and conferences as well. I also enjoy some non-tech activities like making music, which is somewhat technical, since I produce it too. And yeah, that's about me. So, what I want to get you home with is how to deploy clickers on your laptop, deploy clickers with or without an operator in your favorite cloud, and running some commands to test how awesome clickers is. Let's dive into how and why we want to run clickers in the cloud-native way, shall we? So, what is cloud-native? There's a whole lot of definitions around cloud-native, and the one that you can read in this slide is the CNCF definition. But since we don't have too much time today, we're going to be happy with just saying that cloud-native means born to the cloud. Now, cloud-native is a pretty effective architecture in the real world, and these are some benefits of deploying ClickHouse in the cloud-native way. You will get a scalable and self-healing ClickHouse experience ready to be configured, optimized resource usage, and overall density of your ClickHouse installation will be way more. There's also a link to a ClickHouse blog that's titled "Saving Millions of Dollars by Repacking ClickHouse Pods in AWS EKS." This has been pretty insightful when I read it. It also shows how hyperscaler clouds are a bit late to import some Kubernetes feature in their managed services, like the most allocated Kubernetes schedule scoring policy. Then, the fact that you have minimal downtime plus ease in handling day-to operations is a pretty big advantage of having ClickHouse in the cloud. Now, what do we need to deploy ClickHouse in the cloud, you may ask? And these are some yummy ingredients that we're going to cook. So we're going to need a cluster. In our case, I will deploy a Civo cluster. I'm a Civo ambassador, so there's some conflict of interest here, but I think Civo is really a very nice platform. And they offer me a space to deploy 3 clusters, so why not? And then we also In the README file, I just give a bunch of instructions. There are some parameters, of course. To get started, Docker compose, a Kubernetes cluster running somewhere. I suggest either single or you can go for a client cluster, K3S on your machine, whatever works. Then, of course, you need kubectl. Also, to get started, yeah, this probably should have been a character, but I think it's nice to have it as a getting started instruction. You should download the ClickHouse client, and then, yeah, then we can run now the ClickHouse Docker compose file. We're gonna first check what's the content, and then you can test it. Let's check the Docker compose. We have, well, our ClickHouse image, our user definition, container name, the host name, and of course we have volumes with configurations. We have, of course, like 2 ports, one for the client, and then we have the ClickHouse keeper, which is also open source. And let's see now our configurations in the volumes. We have some, yeah, this is the configuration for keeper. This is just for logging and stuff like that. Then we also have our config for the server. We have the user config. That we just have default passwords and stuff. Easy, of course, to edit it if you ever use it in production. Please don't. Not with this configuration like this. And then we also have the configuration itself of ClickHouse. This is pretty standard stuff. I didn't really tweak it too much, but you can tweak the memory size. You can tweak a lot of stuff with the old-fashioned XML, of course. Now let's get into our CLI again. Take a step back. We are going to go to the Docker folder and run a Docker compose. It's going to take a few seconds. Of course, I pre-downloaded the container, and everything now is running. So now you can connect to the cluster, and I'll see you in a bit. Okay, after we started our Docker compose, we just need to connect to the client. We can run the command ClickHouse client --host, that's the binary, by the way, localhost, or you can avoid specifying the host because by default it connects to localhost at the port 9000. If you ever need, of course, to connect, and we're going to see how, to the ClickHouse that you deploy in the cloud, of course, you're going to just change the host. And I think the port as well. It's always a good choice to variate the port. Okay, now let's check out how to deploy our ClickHouse on Kubernetes vanilla with no operator. It's a bit like before, but after getting access to our cluster, we need to run these commands from the Kubernetes repository. That we're gonna check. Don't mind me, I'm gonna clear this, and I'm gonna run these commands. Gonna wait that everything gets created, and in the meantime, we can take a look at what we're doing with our resources. So Kubernetes, I could have done it from the CLI, but let's see. And then let's start with the persistent volume. So persistent volume, we are gonna have a storage of 6 gigabytes. Of course, feel free to change this one. We can make it more complex. We can use Helm if you want. But the thing is, you have to decide the capacity for your storage. Then, of course, we are going to retain the storage with the policy, and we're going to create a storage class. There is nothing particularly interesting in this one, I think. Of course, we have also the persistent volume claim, which is just useful for us to read and write on the volume and to claim its usage. Then we have a service. This is really useful to externalize our deployment, so we're gonna be able to access it even from outside the cluster. Then we also have the deployment. This is of course the most complex one. Yeah, I added a comment. I only have one replica. But actually now we could actually change it to, well, let's say 3 replicas, which I think is fair enough. It's not a live video, but I wanted to keep this one as well. Okay, and then, yeah, cool. Now I applied with one replica, but I'm gonna reapply later. We have our container ports, we have our limits and requests. I think it's right sized, yeah, 4 gigabytes to gigabytes. Cool, cool, cool. And then we have our volume mounts with all the configurations we checked out before. And we're back. So once we created it with our vanilla setup, we just need to connect to it with either within the Kubernetes cluster with exec-it that's gonna be deprecated soon. So I need just not to do it. I will add a warning on repo. And then we should use the port forwarding instead, which is way cooler. Or we simply have a load balancer. We could also connect to this thing, where what I'm doing is basically getting the Ingress host name and using it as an input for the host parameter of the ClickHouse client, always for 9000, which is also a default. Remember, very important for both the operator and your vanilla deployment, you should clean up all the resources to avoid incurring costs, which we don't like and it's not sustainable. And yeah, that's about it. Okay, welcome to the ClickHouse demo. Now we are going to create a big thank you goes to Slides Carnival, which provides these amazing templates for my presentations. Sibo for providing the clusters and yeah, for making an ambassador. Pexels and Pixabay for some of the pictures. And you, of course, for attending my presentation, KCD Lahore. So this is it. Stay database. Feel free to leave a GitHub star and follow me on social media. Of course, I'm going to give you also the resources, so the ClickHouse documentation if you want to explore more the database, and the presentation for which I took the operator information from. Another small announcement. I want to tell you that I'm open to work. So in case a company is listening, I can be your next platform engineer or dev rep. And you can contact me on LinkedIn, or you can, I don't know, send a pigeon, whatever. Back to me, Matteo Flippard.